welcome to Children's Church here at Monthalia United Methodist Church. We've been really missing getting to be here together in the classroom here at church to learn our Bible stories each Sunday, and we hope that that gets to happen again really soon. Today our lesson is about how God called Moses. God had chosen Moses to lead his people out of Egypt to the wilderness to worship God. And he wanted Moses to come up to the mountain to receive the 10 Commandments. That's what we're going to be learning about today. As we learned when we heard Miss Lou tell us about how God had protected the Israelites as they were being surrounded by Pharaoh's army in Egypt at the Red Sea, at the edge of the Red Sea. And then God opened up the ocean's water, and then he shined his light on their path, and they walked through the Red Sea on dry ground. And there they began their journey in the wilderness on their way to the Promised Land. And then Miss Tracy told us about how the Lord provided for the Israelites out in the wilderness as they were walking, traveling through the wilderness together, millions of Israelites together. And God sent his special food raining down from the sky for them to have food to eat each day out in the desert. And each day there would be fresh food for them to eat, and it was called manna. Manna means, what is this? What is this food? And then God sent them delicious meat to eat. The quail, they fluttered down from the sky. God provided for them. So after they escaped through the Red Sea and had been walking for a really long time over the desert land, traveling through the wilderness, heading to the new country. And after this very, very long time, they arrived at the bottom of the mountain. The mountain was like this. It goes way up into the sky, the mountain. And this mountain is called Mount Sinai. The mountain where God had first called Moses to be their leader. That same mountain. It was a big job for Moses to lead all the people, the Israelite people. And Moses prayed. He prayed to God. He said, God, I need your help. So Moses climbed the mountain and God talked to him. Moses said, God, I have some things for you to tell the people. You have seen what I did to the Egyptians, so you wouldn't have to be their slaves any longer. If the people obey me, I'll make them a special people, the Israelites. Now, go down and tell the people what I have said. So Moses came down from the mountain and he told the people what God had said. And all the people replied, we will do whatever God asks us to do. So Moses went back up the mountain. This time God said to Moses, I'm going to come to the people and in a cloud, so all the people can hear me speak. God also told Moses to tell the people that they must bathe themselves and wash everything that they wear. All their clothes must be washed and clean. That would remind the people that how pure and clean they needed to be in the presence of God. God also told Moses that none of them could come near the mountain. They couldn't come near this mountain or try to touch it at all, or they would die, because the power of God is so strong. And so he let them know, don't come near the mountain. God told Moses the people should stay away from the mountain until they heard the sound of one long trumpet blast. You know, that it's kind of like a trumpet, and it makes a really loud sound, so they would know that that's when they should come. By the third day, everyone was ready. They had gotten themselves all clean, and their clothes were all clean, and they were dressed and ready to go. Suddenly, there was a crash of thunder. And if you ever hear thunder outside, you know how loud that can be. Well, it was a big crash of thunder, louder than anything they had ever heard. And the lightning flashed through the sky, and a huge cloud descended upon the mountain. Like you can see it right here, this big old dark cloud. And then came the long trumpet blast around the mountainside. Moses led the people out from the camp to meet God, and they stood here at the foot of the mountain. They all stood. Then, miraculously, God's actual presence covered the mountain like a cloud of smoke. It billowed into the sky, and the whole mountain shook with an earthquake. This whole mountain started shaking. It was an awesome sight. And the people trembled with fear. And God spoke all these words. God said, I am the Lord your God, and have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of slavery. Then God declared his laws to the people. They are called the 10 Commandments. The first commandment said, worship no other gods but me. That's what the Lord told them. The 10 Commandments are listed on these stone tablets that God wrote with his very own hand. The very first commandment, God said, worship no other gods but me. In Egypt, the Egyptians had many gods for different reasons, but God wanted the Israelite people to worship only the true God. The second commandment God told the people is, do not make any idols. Do not bow down to any god but me. And this is my third commandment, said God. Do not use my name to swear. God's name is special, and we should respect it. The fourth commandment concerned worship. God said, keep the Sabbath as a holy day. The Sabbath is the day of the week that we call Sunday. Do not work on the Sabbath. God wanted the people to rest and worship Him on that day. That's the day that we go to church. In the fifth commandment, God said, honor thy father and mother. To honor means to speak kindly to your parents, to be courteous, and to be kind. Commandment number 6 was, you must not murder. You must not kill. To take away the life that only God can give is wrong. Commandment 7, God said, do not commit adultery. In other words, love your own wife or husband and not someone else's wife or husband. Commandment 8, God told the people, do not steal. We should never take something that does not belong to us. Instead, we should share with others. God said in commandment number 9, do not lie. Sometimes we think lying isn't so bad and we could tell just part of the truth, but that is lying too. The 10th commandment is, you must not covet. That means you shouldn't envy or be jealous that someone else has what you want. You can admire something like that, but don't be jealous that you don't have it. God said, I give you these 10 commandments for your own protection. I want my people to obey them and remember to not worship idols of silver, gold, or anything else. Did the people listen? Yes. Did they promise to obey? Yes, they did. But did they? Did they obey? No. They didn't obey. The 10 Commandment laws tell us how to live so we don't offend God or hurt other people. If we obey these laws, we will be happy. God wants to help us obey by giving us the desire to do what is right. If we ask God to give us that desire, He will. God had the people prepare themselves before He spoke the 10 Commandments to them. He had them get themselves ready, to get themselves all cleaned up and have fresh, clean clothes before they came to hear the 10 Commandments. He wanted them, and he wants us to realize that his law is very special. We should never ignore it or take it lightly. We should be prepared to be in God's presence when we come to church. God's house. That's what church is. We should be clean and neat and respectful as God meets us there. So, these special laws that God gave us are still what we live by today. And I'd like to thank you for being a part of Children's Church. And we really like being together, and we hope to see you very soon.